Yeah, it's important, I think, because when you live in this small sort of rooms, in a small bungalow, you do need fresh air coming through. Because if you don't, you will notice it. Like, sometimes wake up with like sore throats and stuff, you're like, oh, this air just isn't clean. So it's nice to know you've got like clean air circulating. It just smells a lot fresher and feels better on your breathing, 100%. With my partner, she's got asthma, so it actually made her breathing quite hard when she came into this particular room, because I think the mould, it really can take an effect on people with asthma in particular, on their breathing. But since having it, she seems to be a lot better, and she can work in here, get ready for work in here fine without having to sort of come out of the room being like, oh, I feel horrible. But yeah, you definitely notice it. You don't smell the mould, like the damp has definitely gone down a lot, which just isn't pleasant being anyway, whether it's affecting your health or not. You don't want to be smelling mould. Yeah, it would probably come out in sort of like a line across there, about that far, just sort of like the odd splatter here and there, quite bad there. And most of that under there was like quite bad mould. You could definitely see it like with the eye very easily. And in that corner, it was probably up like nearly 1 metre high, with just like mould in the corner. Yeah, about 90% of that is gone now. You really have to look for it if you want to see any mould, especially like the areas where the fan is around that. It's definitely reduced it quite a lot, particularly under here. Well, there's no mould there at all, so that's 100% gone. But there's a little tiny bit maybe, but yeah, definitely about a 90% reduction, if not more, since having it in. Yeah, so since having it fitted, there's been no sort of change in the temperature of the room. Can't notice any sort of drop in the heat. It just seems the same, really. So one of the main things was that we would get mould in the actual wardrobe and on clothes, which was a right pain because you don't want to have to be buying new clothes all the time or washing them, trying to scrub mould out of them. But since having it in, the clothes seem to be fine really, and you would notice it on something like that, a very light coloured clothing, you would see all the black dots on it. Can't seem to see any mould since having it put in. It's got rid of the mould completely. There's not even a trace of it really, because if there was, you would see it on something white like that. And even though there's a lot of clothes in the wardrobe as well, it seems to still be getting the air into it, which is good. My girlfriend, she does eyelashes from home as a little bit of a part-time job. And with eyelashes, you need the room to be a certain humidity. I think it's around 40%. I think it can be a little bit higher, but not too much lower, or else the eyelashes won't set, something like that. So it's quite important, and we actually got a little temperature measure with a humidity clock on it to check what it is, because she has to have that to know that it's going to work. And you can see it's 40%, bang on, which is what she needs. But before, that was way over 60, and like sometimes even higher, like 80% humidity, which shows that obviously mould is going to be present as well, and basically make it not usable for work for what she needs to do. So that's perfect really. So when she was in this room with her asthma, it would make it slightly hard to breathe, which might just be a slight inconvenience, but over years I think that would definitely build up and do damage to your health. But yeah, if she could choose not to be in this room, she wouldn't be. That's how much it would be affecting her. So it's definitely a lot better now. She can come in here and doesn't feel any of those effects and can work in here very easily. So with the actual operations of the switch, you've got a few settings on here. You've got 1, 2, and then if you have them both on, that's level 3, which is the highest power. And then you also have the in and out function, which brings fresh air in for 70 seconds and then puts the stale air back out 70 seconds. There's also another setting where you can just have the stale air going out, which is just to help the heat. So what I usually do is I just keep it on 3, and I keep it on the 70 seconds in and 70 seconds out. And even on full blast, you can hear that's quite quiet as well. But you will hear it go for 70 seconds and stop and then go back out. And we usually keep it on that all the time just because that's the best for us, really. We want the highest amount of power to bring the air in and push the air out again, keep it constantly circulating. So this unit is particularly great because with a room this size, it actually changes the air every hour. It will change it once every hour, which is good because you know you've got that constant air coming in and out then 24 hours a day, 24 times a day, which is fantastic. I think it's around £5 per year, which is nothing, pennies per day, if that. So it's very cost efficient. If you had something like a dehumidifier on all the time, that would be costing you a lot of money. So it does save you money in that sense as well. And it looks a lot nicer than having a dehumidifier sat in the middle of a room. It's quite subtle. So another good feature of it is that you can actually take off the cover and you can clean the filter out inside, and there you can actually see from over 6 months ago, that is how much dust has clogged up and been filtered from the air. So that has been caught and trapped rather than breathed in by myself, which obviously you wouldn't want to breathe that in at all. Move the filter and you can see the amount of dust and rubbish that's been collected through that. And there's also a filter on the other side, which you can probably see even more than that, where it's been filtered out and cleaned. So we'll simply take the filter and just rinse it under some hot water. Which straight away cleans all that rubbish off, all the dust and the bad air that you didn't want to be breathing in. And now it's clean again, ready to be put back on. And then you just pop it back on, back in place, and pop the cover back on. And it's ready to work again.